Montreal Canadiens are proud to select Ivan Demidov.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to a brand new episode of the Curfew Boys podcast. The Montreal Canadiens season may be over, but ours isn't. Hockey may be done for the Canadiens, but the job is far from over. Myself, Sammy, with my cousin Chris, recording late on a Friday night, but so this episode is released on Saturday morning. Hey now, good morning, happy Saturday. Did I say Sunday? I thought I said Saturday. Anyways, if you're listening to this,
you're welcome to listen on Sunday.
Yeah, if you want, but listen to it on Saturday. Happy Saturday, May 3rd, even though we're recording late Friday night, May 2nd. Chris, how are you, buddy?
Doing well. Honestly, excited for this episode. Just to give a little context to the fans, this was a back and forth set of texts between Sammy and I and the guys, and decided that we have to hop on. So very, very excited to tackle a few subjects: Laval Rocket, end of the season for the Montreal Canadiens, clearing out of the lockers, what's going on in the playoffs, and maybe a sneak peek at what's in store for the summer. At least some early predictions on behalf of the Curfew Boys.
Yeah, ahead of Kent Hughes and most likely Jeff Gordon's press conference on Monday, but we're giving our own predictions. So thank you for tuning in. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. It is absolutely free. Audio episodes available on platforms like Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Follow the Curfew Boys on Twitter, also known as X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. We're especially very active on Instagram, where we have conversations with Habs fans all over. So come join us there. This episode is sponsored by Habs Cave, our boy Sunil with the best man cave for any Habs fan out there. The best Habs content you could think of as far as a fan is concerned. Follow Habs Cave on Instagram. Sunil provides awesome content. Les Délices Lafrenette, the pastry shop with some of the best pastries out there, especially in the Montreal area. They got 6 locations, including on the island of Montreal and just outside the island of Montreal. You can visit lesdeliceslafrenette.com for more details. If you're looking for pastries like cannolis, wedding cakes, they got it all. And I'm telling you, they are simply delicious, simplement délicieux. Follow Les Délices Lafrenette on Instagram as well. And last but not least, to Mike's Barbecue Rub, my boy Mike, back in RDP, who creates his own barbecue spices or rub spices for meat, vegetable, fish on the barbecue. You're going to want to try some of Mike's Barbecue Rub. He uses those same spices to create his own brand of chips, Mike's Barbecue Rub. Please follow him on Instagram. You can visit mikesbarbecuerub.com. And as always, folks, don't forget to rub your meat. Okay. Now that we got that out of the way, on Friday, May 2nd, the Montreal Canadiens go to their lockers, empty it out, and answer a bunch of questions by the media. That was covered. So, you know how the Montreal Canadiens on YouTube, when they have a live event going? Well, this time they had like 2, I guess you could say 2 cameras following different sets of players. So like on one camera, I think you had Suzuki, you had Laine, I'm pretty sure you had Matheson. On another one, you had Caulfield, you had Carrier, and you had others, right? So I'm probably getting the list of names wrong, but it was basically that. It was 2 different cameras on 2 different YouTube links. So that was quite something. That was a bit challenging in terms of following, but it's still, I don't know if it's bittersweet. I don't know if it's disappointing anymore. I think at the end of the day, Habs fans practically everywhere, or almost Habs fans everywhere, are proud of this team, proud of their accomplishments, proud of them exceeding expectations, facing adversity like injuries and maybe a player personnel change here and there. And they did it. Look, they at the end of the day, I can't stress enough how proud I am of this team, and that I really, really cannot wait for next season to come already. But the work is far from over, though. And we're going to be talking about, I guess, some of the comments that certain players made. What can be the expectations of these types of players individually and collectively? how the Laval Rocket are looking, and especially during their playoff run. Can we see some of those future pieces joining the team next year? There's just it's still an exciting time, even though their playoff run is over. So there's quite a few players that actually, when they spoke, I guess you could say, I was like, oh, like kind of like raised an eyebrow or two, and one of them was definitely Patrick Laine. I liked what Uri Slafkovsky had to say for himself. I liked what Josh Anderson was one of those guys. Um, I think the player, or not the main player, but the main character with the biggest question marks around this player is Patrick Laine. And if you listen to his interview, he basically expresses how his only goal this year was to do everything he possibly can within his power to start loving the game of hockey again. And he feels like he accomplished that. And in all things considered, like, he it kind of puts things into perspective. And like, we all had the perception that he's lazy, he's this, is that. It's like, I think there's a lot more to it than that. I think some of these, not issues, but these question marks concerning Patrick Laine and the future on this team, I think it goes a lot deeper than that. And one thing I need to say about Patrick Laine is part of the reasons why we made the playoffs is because we won games on special teams. And I think 90% of the special team success on the power play were because of him. He started the season in December and he already scored, and he got over 20 goals already. Like,
That's exactly it. Like he came in and he was for a while there, having missed all that time. He still finished like second or third in power play goals in the league, like which is just an outstanding change. I know it took a couple months for Montreal to figure out their power play, but between Hudson and especially Laine coming back and just sniping them game after game, Patrick Laine was a huge addition to the team. I know it was rough to see him down the stretch because I think he was just having trouble skating. I know that he had his finger injuries, the broken finger that he had brought up today, hence
mm-hmm,
why he
yep,
couldn't shoot for the life of him in
mm-hmm.
the playoffs. But all that to say is like he's still a welcomed addition, and he's still going to be a key piece in getting us to the playoffs next year, whether he plays on PP1 or PP2.
I agree. And after watching Cole kind of regain success on that left circle side, replacing Laine, I thought, why not? If ever Laine comes back, why not put him just on the second power play? I don't know. It's just a
Always
thought.
true.
It's an option. It's an option, but that's going to be something for Marty to worry about next year. And we'll get to Marty later. I want to talk about the players first, but the
There was
subject about
another
Marty is going to make me
Another
smile.
interesting one was Uri, and he said something that we've said multiple
Mm-hmm.
times over, and it was just
Mm-hmm.
happy, I guess, with that self-recognition that he's got to start the season in October. Again, it's
Yeah,
two seasons back to back that he flicks the switch halfway through the season, and then he goes on a relative tear. Like, don't get me wrong, he didn't rewrite the history books, but at the same time, there was a significant difference between him in the first half and the second half, and
yeah,
at
big time.
least he's able to admit that he wants to be ready to go as of game one. I think Uri Slafkovsky playing like he did in the second half, as at the season's start all the way through, is a few extra points in the books, and again that much more of a lock into a playoff spot this past year, and even more so next year. But it's not going to be any easier next year, right? According to Mike Matheson, Sam, you want to take over that?
I don't think. I think he's right though, because I think teams are going to know that they cannot be taken lightly anymore, and he's absolutely right. And maybe if a rookie or two come in, or somebody different comes in, it's still going to be challenging. Like, also because of just the overall expectations of the team. You weren't supposed to make playoffs. You did make playoffs. You showed signs of improvement amongst your core. You have an insane talent like Ivan Demidov. Now he's got to help with that success. It's not going to be easy. Like every season doesn't become easier. And I love what Marty said is like once you experience playoffs, you automatically start the season much better than where you were at. And I hope he's right. We're optimistic that they will, but it's not going to be easy. It really isn't. So I tend to agree with Mike Matheson on that. It's teams are not going to take them lightly anymore, especially after everybody saw what this team is capable of doing, being so young and into the playoffs, playing against Washington. Everybody saw. So everybody knows they're going to be like, oh, shit, no, this young team, they're for real, and we got to bring our A game and make their life difficult every time we play them, every night. So, yeah, I tend to agree with that 1,000%.
I think you said it best too. Like, don't get me wrong, the Canadians have had, their fair share of compliments in the past, but I don't think we've seen this much love and recognition from other fans and other teams around the league to say like, okay, you guys are going to be really good. Whether it be Spencer Carberry, the coach of the Washington Capitals, and just
Mm-hmm.
other fan bases all around,
Dude,
like there are a lot of smart fans who know what's coming for this organization.
You know how many Ottawa Senators fans on Twitter said, okay, Montreal, we see you and we respect you? Like, they didn't say that. I'm sort of misquoting here or just interpreting messages. A lot of Ottawa Senators fans on Twitter are like, okay, okay, Montreal, like, okay, yeah,
Real deal.
We see you.
Upcoming.
We see you. No, but because they went kind of through the same thing as well with their team. And they almost gave the Toronto Maple Leafs a run for their money, and I wish they did, because how great would that have been if Ottawa would have came back down 3-0? But at least we're the last Canadian team to humiliate the Leafs, being down 3-1 and eliminating them 4-3. But it's okay. Ottawa did their best. Again,
And Florida's
Toronto
going to take care of doing that next.
Yeah,
Let's be honest here.
I can't wait for that. I want to talk about Nick Suzuki, and I think Nick Suzuki really needed this type of season to show that, yes, this rebuild is going in the way that is positive. Might not take as long as people think, because he said it. He's like, when he signed his contract, it was under different circumstances. And then when his contract, when that extension started and his over $7 million salary cap of a contract came into play, that was when the rebuild was starting. So I think he was kind of worried that it would take a 5 to 7 year span. So he sort of hinted like I was hoping it wasn't going to take 7 years, but he's happy the way things turned out. I think he's especially happy that the players on the team stayed with the team at trade deadline, and that, like I said, leadership comes from the top. And I think that also shows Nick Suzuki that he could trust Kent Hughes and he could trust Jeff Gordon when it comes to making decisions that's the best for this team. And if they give him their word, they're going to keep it, as long as he provides what he's supposed to provide on the ice and as a captain, the leader of this team. So no, it was great. I really think I think Nick Suzuki, like, I think part of the reason why he was chosen captain is because he how can I think he not observed, but he took in like a sponge every
he absorbed everything that Weber had to throw at him.
Weber had to throw at him. Sean Monahan had to throw at him. Yeah, Carey Price briefly. Well, actually, both of them, yeah. Sean Monahan, like I mentioned. Now David Savard. You know what I mean? Like he's taking all of these little bits of leadership qualities and skills that he learned from past leaders before him, and I really think he's going to demonstrate that for the rest of, at least for the rest of his career, but certainly within the rest of his captaincy with the Montreal Canadiens.
I found it particularly interesting, especially come this playoffs. Right at the last game when they qualified for playoffs, and he took the mic and he said his "Hello Montreal" or "Comment ça va
Oh, what?
Montreal" or "Ça va bien Montreal." That was it. That was it.
Yeah,
"Ça va bien."
I think that
Uh,
I think that was the
Tony
most emotion
Marinaro.
we ever
I
seen.
gotta remember.
Yeah.
But since I'm not saying it was the moment that he took the mic, but like I found even from, let's say, the middle to the three-quarter mark of the season, I don't know what happened, but definitely at the end of the season, I think that whether it be the meeting that he had with Kent Hughes and Jeff Gordon to basically say keep the team intact, please,
Hmm.
I
Yep.
found Suzuki to become so much more vocal. I find him to be so much more at ease speaking out in front of the locker, in front of the rest
Yep.
of the guys in the dressing room. Even the post game speeches, like let's be honest here, Nick Suzuki has some of the most boring audio clips, or he has had some of the most boring, generic hockey player type interviews. He's been dropping some pearls lately. He's been
Hmm.
very vocal once again with the rest of the guys. I really feel as though, especially with maybe David Savard also taking a step back, like I'm not saying that David Savard was the unofficial captain of the Montreal Canadiens, but I really think he just took it right at the right opportunity to step up and say, okay, not only am I going to lead by example, not only am I going to carry this team on the ice, like I really feel genuinely that there's a lot more ease in him just talking to the guys, motivating the guys, and
Yeah.
being a multifaceted leader, if you want.
Yeah, but they said it too. Like I don't know who it was. I don't know if it was Cole or
Marty
I'm
said it
pretty
actually. He beat me to
I'm
the
pretty.
punch, but I've been dying to say this for a while.
Is it like he might not seem so emotional when he talks to the media, but he's actually a lot more. I
Vocal.
guess he's a lot more vocal on the ice, on the bench, and even in the dressing room. Like he doesn't show it in front of media or cameras, but yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
And I think it's just gonna. It's definitely gonna keep growing, and I hope for him he reaches the 90-point mark. He almost did it this year, man. I think it was down to what 88, 89 points. So
Yeah. Lane
he's almost
Hudson,
there,
power
man.
play one, 90 points incoming. Book it.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's fair. But no, like the Nick Suzuki one, that was important to hear a little bit too. Like I mentioned, Patrick Line, the Yuri Slavkovsky one for sure. Alex Carrier, he said he busted his ankle on that Ovechkin hit. I know he mentioned that he hopes a couple of free agents might come here just because of the passion for these playoff games at the Bell Center, and there was that too. Josh Anderson, he didn't want to divulge his injury issues, but apparently he said if they weren't in a state of belief and a fight for a playoff spot, he wouldn't have played since like December. So,
Man is a warrior. That man is a
like,
warrior.
like I know Anthony and I, we've had discussions of like how Brendan Gallagher is the heart of the team. But I think Josh Anderson adds a big piece to it as well. And I think we saw
Oh
it
yeah.
this year when he really got comfortable with his role. Really, he not just got comfortable, he accepted it, he embraced it. He was amazing on the penalty kill a few times. And, I think it was good for him to not have to be that go-to guy in the top six and having to score over 20 goals again. Just play the game that's in front of you, the famous Marty quote, and he did that this year. He really did.
He absolutely key piece. Hang on to him. I think I don't want to dive into the Alexandre Carrier comments just yet. Maybe we
Mm.
wrap up the episode on something on that note. But just proud of the guys, and I didn't get to see as many of the interviews as I wanted to. I saw a few little quotes here and there. I think the other thing that just to share with the fans, multiple guys waiting to see whether or not they're going to be going to the World Championships. The only one who's confirmed at this moment in time is Mike
Mm-hmm.
Matheson. Nick
Yep.
Suzuki, I think, just has to be cleared medically.
So
I don't think he
Nick's
wants to
yeah.
repeat last year.
Well, well, well. I think there's that, and I think there's Nick Suzuki had a wedding to prep for last year, so you can't blame him. And you mentioned how Nick Suzuki he suddenly flipped the switch. I think a lot of it too was the chip on his shoulder, like, oh yeah, Team Canada, you don't want to pick me, okay, I'll fucking show you. Not I'll make you regret that decision, but I'll show you that, maybe you could have picked me. But I mean, it obviously turned out well in the end for Canada. But yeah, he got the invitation from Team Canada. He just needs medical clearance because him too. He said he's pretty banged up, and I think I don't know if it came after the fucking Tom Wilson hitting him through the net,
Yeah.
but anyways, no, he needs medical clearance. Cole, I don't think he's gonna go. Lane Hudson, I think he wants to go. Excuse me, I think he wants to go, but I think him too. He's realizing, okay, maybe it's important for my body to take a break. I mean, even though he could do it, he could definitely play without breaking a sweat in the world. Because I know his brother's going too. So they have to decide quickly because this tournament starts on May 9th. So basically, pretty much an exact
1 week.
week from Friday, 1 week from Friday, exactly. Slavkovsky's not going for Slovakia. Apparently, he spoke with Miroslav Shatan, that's in charge of Team Slovakia. And apparently, they had a good conversation. And him too, he says it's probably best for him to really take the rest. And he played last year, the World Championships, which was great to see. He looked amazing. I really thought he did. But him too, I think it's important to utilize the resting period and focus on the body, focus on the mind too, especially him. I think Slav, he's got to do more mental prepping than anything if he wants to come out in the month of October instead of the month of February, like he said. So one player I kind of want to finish on, because I think we mentioned everybody. Like Sam Montembeault revealed that he tore 3 muscles in his groin, and that if they would have gone to round 2, he would have been able to play.
Brutal.
Like,
Good on him for
yeah,
trying. Apparently, it was even before game 3 that he knew, and he tried to play through it. So warrior again.
yeah, him too. Yeah, he did not look like he was in pain. But he did not look uncomfortable at all. Like that to me, Sam Montembeault, I think is a bit of the. I think it's safe to say he was sort of like the best player of this team for the playoffs. Like for the first time in his career, did not look nervous one bit. I think we've expressed it many times before. That's the most comfortable he's ever looked in a Montreal Canadiens uniform. Like,
Yeah,
it's
no,
crazy.
I
It's
think that's
crazy to think.
fair statement. Fair statement. With that, do we talking goalies and talking kind of Montreal Canadiens season wrap up?
One
I know
one
we can also mention Marty.
I Before Marty, we got to mention one more player because it actually involves Marty, especially with this particular player. Arbor Jack. I really think Arbor Jackai's interview, to me, put an end to that stupid narrative that Marty does not like Arbor. Blah 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 blah. I called it from the beginning. Maybe a bunch of us did. Apparently Marty had multiple conversations with Arbor saying, listen, we're on a 6-game winning streak. I can't change a winning lineup as much as I want you in it. He told him multiple times, and Marty said it too. He's like, I trust Arbor. It's just, how can I change a winning lineup when we win 6 games in a row? Like, that's coaching suicide in a sense, especially when you're fighting for a wild card spot. So I get it. And he said, he's like, no, we all look up to Marty. I look up to him. He teaches me how to not cross that line. And yeah, he said, of course, yeah, it sucked that I had to watch a bit for almost 3 weeks in the stands. That's fine. That's normal. That's the sign of a competitive player that wants to
And
play
a
for
good
his
teammate.
team. A
And a good
thousand
teammate.
percent, 1,000%. But no, he Arbor knows he's appreciated on this team, and not just by the players. He's appreciated by the coach too. It's we got to remember that, like, our Arbor Jacka is one of those diamond in the roughs that never got drafted, like nothing. Like him, it's gonna take a little bit more. That's gonna take a bit more time for him to really ease into the NHL. But like, he might suffer the growing pains a little bit more than the others. Like, you got to think about that. But he still brings that element. He still is a very good defenseman. He's still young too. He's still trying to figure his thing out, but he knows what to work on. Marty knows what to work on him too. this whole Marty dislikes Arbor, blah 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 bullshit. Like it's got to stop. It's got to stop. And everyone there, or Arbor's going to ask for a trade. Arbor's going to want out. No, no, he's not. The last thing Arbor is going to do is put his ego before the team. Like if anything, his mother won't even allow it. And like we've
Your
had
mother's
Simone.
playing for the team. You figure it out.
Well, for one, it's probably their dream come true to play together on the same team. So I don't think Arbor is going to do anything to jeopardize that. It's going to come down to management in the end. But Arbor Jackie's not going to put his fucking ego before the crest. He's not going to put his name before the crest on the jersey that he's wearing. Like Arbor Jackie wants to be a Montreal Canadiens. He's not going anywhere unless management sends him out of here. Which for now, there's no signs that it's going to happen. You never know what could happen. But I'm done with this Marty versus Arbor narrative. Like that bullshit is over, folks. Like get it out of your heads. Stop being emotional about it. Yes, we all love Arbor. We all want him in the lineup, but there's a valid reason why he wasn't in it. And then there was a valid reason why he was brought back in it.
Yeah. I think talking about Arbor, I would say one last thing is I just hope for his game he spends part of the summer working on just receiving pucks, quick turn, and making passes up the ice. Like the quick play up the ice. If Arbor can get that down pat
So
and solidify that, my God, him and then
first
his
pass out
brother
of the
too.
zone.
I think,
Absolutely.
and I think
Oh,
talking about the Jack guys, both of them, uh, in comes Laval Rocket. Uh, I think Florian had a point tonight on the game's first goal. I think he won the
yeah.
faceoff, and it was Jared
On the
Davidson
face
who
off,
rocketed it in.
just pun intended.
Yeah, no, actually, it
and
was
that
completely unintended, but a very good one.
and that was the game winner. Just by the way, St. Louis destroys the Winnipeg Jets 5-2, I believe, and now it's a series tied at 3. Going to Game 7 back in Winnipeg. So sorry, not to interrupt that, but yeah, Laval Rocket, man,
Yeah,
or the
Laval
Winnipeg Jets.
Rocket. Um, I was just about to say Laval Rocket. So 4-0 victory. Laval is up 2-0 in a best of 5 series. Uh, Jacob Fowler shut out in his second AHL playoff game. Like the kid looks good. I mean, we're already at the point of having potentially a goalie controversy. Not to exaggerate, but like
But what do they
if he
do?
continues playing like this, if Primo goes down, do you put Primo in nets automatically? He got you to where you are in the standings. But if a goalie's playing well and everything is going well, I think they
Like
still turn to Primo. I think they still turn to Primo. But there's still a debate
here's
worth having.
well, here's what I think. I still think you got to put Fowler on Sunday's home game in Laval. I still believe that if they win, this is my prediction. I don't know what Pascal Vesa is going to do, but he's got a great problem on his hands for once. I don't even think they send Jakub Dobesh down, but there hasn't been an announcement yet. I'll check on Twitter real quick. I haven't seen any announcement about Caden Primo going down. I really think they're just waiting for the team to come back home, and then they'll make it official, which in my books is a smart move. But at the end of the day, Jacob Fowler, 20 saves for his first shutout as a professional goaltender in just his second playoff game as a pro.
Yeah.
Okay, so come Sunday at Place Bell in Laval, I still think you got to put Fowler in. And if they win, here's what I'm thinking. You put him in, even if he wins and they sweep the series, I still think you start next series with Primo out of respect for what he's done. And listen, if worse comes to worse and Fowler loses on Sunday, I think the next game you put Primo anyway. So I think no matter what, give Fowler one more game and then let Primo start the next series. And if it shows that things aren't going so well with Primo, which I don't think will be the case, but if it does, well, hey, you put in Fowler and then you go from there. And you live or die
I
in that.
completely agree.
You live or die with those decisions. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I think you're spot on because number one, you don't change a goalie who just had a shutout. I think that's insulting. I think that's brutally insulting, especially if he's getting the job done against Cleveland Monsters. You don't change a winning recipe when you're going on to play another team. However,
Mm-hmm.
that's when, or like you said, if he loses for some odd reason, this upcoming Sunday, there's another discussion to be had. But absolutely, I think Jacob Fowler gets the start in Nets this Sunday, and I think even I hope they sweep. Like honestly,
Oh, I hope so
it's
too.
so
I think they
exciting.
have a
Like that,
chance.
yeah, the pain of the Montreal Canadiens losing is only just again a better eye opener. We don't have to divide our time or attention. All eyes are on the Laval Rocket. All the support is behind the Laval Rocket. Um, no empty seats. No excuses for empty seats
Oh no,
at
no, no,
Place
no! It's
Bell.
not gonna happen. Not gonna
So
happen.
so just to say, like, it's time to watch the young guys. Like again, Fowler, um, Mayu, Reinbacher. My God,
Oh my God,
Jacky.
yeah.
I think those are the names. Funny enough, not Fowler because I think he's got a full season to play down in Laval next year. But between Florian Jacky,
Mhm.
Mayu, and Reinbacher, those are three names
I
that are going to be pushing for a spot come this fall when the training camp starts.
I would throw in the names like Owen Beck, and I even throw in the names like Luke Tuck, man, because that kid's hitting everything he sees.
Agreed.
It's
Agreed.
it's like I know Yoel Armia said he wants to come back, but what if Luke Tuck becomes that big power forward on that big, not power forward, but that big forechecking player on the fourth line that just goes in there, hits bodies, and protects the pucks in the corner?
I'm gonna say
That's a
this.
possibility.
It's gonna be freaking hard to replace Armia on the penalty
Yep.
kill. I I thought Armia has been a huge playoff asset for all the years that he's been here for any of our playoff runs. But this was the first year it looked like his legs are just like his speed. Unless he was battling with an injury that I don't know
Well, he
about,
was he
I,
was, but it was his wrist. But yeah, it's
it, it
yeah,
showed,
it
and that's why I like just to wrap the thought. It's like I'm sadly ready to move on from Armia, knowing damn well that we're gonna have some penalty kill difficulties without him. But at the same time, let's be very mindful. If we're asking for like Luke Tuck or Florian Jacky to come in and play PK minutes, that's a huge request for these young kids, right? Like
yeah,
starting out of the
yep.
gate. So weigh
It
out the
is,
pros
but
and cons.
it is, but I really think the experience they're getting in these AHL playoffs, like it goes a long way too.
Big time.
I don't think it goes unnoticed, and I think it plays a big part in their development. So yes, it's a big ask as a rookie coming into the NHL, but you know what I mean. Like I feel like some of these guys have they seasoned themselves very well in the minors, so there's lots of encouraging signs. And again, yeah, you want to manage the expectations, but it's looking pretty good so far. But the Laval
And
Rocket, man, what a, yeah, go ahead.
no, I was just about to say, I'm getting ahead of myself, but I would kill just to see a preseason line of Thorpe, Jacky, and Tuck.
Oh, I think that could happen. That's definitely going to happen again in the rookie tournament if they do that again. I'm pretty sure we're going to see that again. Then we're pretty sure we're going to see Tyler Thorpe get more of a permanent role in the Laval Rocket next year. Like he's there now, but you know what I mean. There's too many veterans that came back from injuries that you have to put in the lineup. They have to put in Gignac. They have to put in Harvey Pinard too, right? So you can't take out Laurent Dauphin. You can't take out Alex Barrett-Boulet too. You know, Davidson is playing
1,000%.
well. The Florian, Owen Beck, they're all playing well. It's like even Philip Michard is not playing. Even Riley Kidney is not playing. So you know what I mean? It's a bit of a, I guess, a tough situation for Tyler Thorpe, but he knows. I'm pretty sure he knows, and he's taking everything in this playoff experience right now, even though he's not playing. But um, I'll end it off on the Laval Rocket, just saying this, like, folks, like we even put out an Instagram story. I'm going to repeat the same thing here, but if we all think and feel how excited we are for the Montreal Canadiens and what they've done this year, folks, like pay attention to the Laval Rocket in these playoffs, man, because they're a young team, but they're the best team in the minors, and right now they're playing like a team that cannot be stopped. A lot of pieces on this team are pieces that Kent Hughes and Jeff Gordon drafted in the Joris Slavkovsky draft and onwards. Okay. Like David Reinbacher's playing well, Logan Mayu's playing well, Jacob Fowler, like we said, shutout already. Owen Beck, Florian Jacka, they're all playing well with some veteran experience too in guys like Barre Boulet, Laurent Dauphin, now Brandon Gignac, Harvey Pinard. Like there's such a perfect balance on this team, folks. Pay attention to the Laval Rocket because of those future pieces that are going to be a part of the Montreal Canadiens and that are going to bring the joy, like Marty said. All their games are available on LDS if you have a French channel available to you. If not, there's flowhockey.com that you can watch it from there. They stream it. Watch the Laval Rocket and get behind them, support the boys because it's exciting. Like it's exciting times within the Montreal Canadiens organization. This organization is doing something special, and it's right in front of our eyes now, folks. Pay attention to the Laval Rocket during their playoff run. I'm telling you, we might see something great. We might
I think they're
since
going
2007. We might see something since
Carey
2007.
Price.
Exactly.
Again, a rookie goaltender comes in.
Just saying.
His name was Carey Price. Just saying.
Just saying. Before we get into Marty, yeah, you and I, we had discussions about potential free agents coming or potential targeted players that we're hoping Marty, or not, excuse me, not Marty, Kent Hughes aims at. In all honesty, it's amongst everywhere. It's amongst all the Montreal Canadiens media, or Montreal media, I should say, English and French. It's amongst the Montreal Canadiens fan base. It's all about that second line center, and also now with David Savard retiring, it's a bit like who takes that spot. I think a lot of people are speculating between Logan Mailloux and David Reinbacher, but I think the most important position right now is that second line center. Not only is there a question mark on Patrick Laine, but there's also a big question mark on Kirby Dach. Personally, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. For some reason, Chris, I'll let you mention the names, but for some reason, I still see management giving Dach one last chance at center, but giving him Ivan Demidov as his winger.
I think so. I do. I feel the exact same way. If not, Kirby Dach is going to be a fellow winger with Ivan Demidov with a more reliable center. It's one way or the other. Kirby Dach is not. I don't. Unless there's a trade that's spectacular, they get a guy, the exact guy that they want, and Kirby Dach just so happens to be a trade piece. I don't think either that they're going to be giving up on Dach just yet. The guy just has some atrocious bad luck health wise, but he deserves it. Like let's just hope and pray third time's a charm because don't forget, and I think it was you who said it last episode, Sam. At one point in time, we were questioning whether or not Kirby Dach had it in him to overtake Suzuki as the first line center. I think that that conversation has left the building. I don't think we're at that point anymore, but there's still a third overall pick in Kirby Dach. There's still untapped potential. There's a big body with great skating capacity, puck handling, vision on the ice, playmaking ability. He would fit in 10 times better, I'm sorry to say, with an Ivan Demidov than, let's say, Armia, Newhook, and the guys that we saw him playing with in the playoff series. Just really, really, really got to give Kirby Dach the benefit of the doubt, especially if the medical staff is going to clear him. I have no doubt in my mind that the Montreal Canadiens are going to give Kirby Dach his due chance this upcoming season.
I don't exactly, because a lot of the centermen were thinking, like, I think now with Mike Sullivan out of Pittsburgh and I think heading to New York, a lot of people think Sidney Crosby is upset. Sidney Crosby wants out. Does Sidney Crosby go play for his childhood dream team, the Montreal Canadiens? You're going to have to give up so much because I think Kyle Dubas is going to be very aggressive and ask for lots of picks, lots of prospects too. because I think he knows there's a rebuild coming for Pittsburgh as well. So
Not to mention, by the way, talking about trades and whatnot, talking about like maybe even if you want to stipulate, even if you want to play armchair quarterback,
GM,
type or,
armchair
or,
GM.
or armchair GM, more like it. It was also, I think it's also important for the fans to know that it was officially made official today. The Montreal Canadiens will have the 17th overall pick on top of the 16th overall pick, thanks to
Yep.
Calgary and the trade for Sean Monahan. So
Yep.
we have the 16th and 17th pick. Just off the cuff, 16th, 17th pick. They also have the 41st, 49th, 79th, 81st, 82nd, 101st, 113th, 145th, 177th, 209th pick. Thank you, Marco
Yeah.
D'Amico on Twitter. That is a total of
They got
that's a lot of picks
I think they got
within the
12
top
picks in the
200.
next, but I think they got 12 picks within the next 2 drafts or like something like that or more. There's a
It's
lot of
insane.
picks, man. So no, but like Kent Hughes gave himself the best chances for trades or for acquiring players and prospects or what have you. It's just again, it's just like I'm trying to picture who, obviously names are thrown out there. Now Matthew Barzal's name is out there. He knows how to speak French. His father loved the Montreal Canadiens too. So like I would love for the Canes to get a Matthew Barzal. I would love him over Bo Horvat because I think Bo Horvat is a type of contract that Kent Hughes wants to avoid like the plague. Horvat's 30. There's another 6 years left on that contract at over $8 million. Yeah, Marty Barzal, it's over $9 million for the same amount of years, but he's 27 years old. So like he's in like again peak prime right now. But him too, it's like there's those injuries issues now. Like, is that a chance I'm willing to take? Like, I love Marty Barzal. I take him on my team. I take him on the team any day. But the Canadiens right
I
now, they might have like just $9 million to work with, and I think that's before if they put Carey Price's final year of his contract on the LTIR. So they might have some room for someone. I don't know exactly. I still think Kent Hughes planted seeds at the trade deadline, but it's still hard for me to know what exactly. I don't know who's he target who's he going to target. Like all of us, like I said, media fan base, we're all saying second line center, second line center. I have no idea though who is he going to go for.
Well, do your homework. Like I legitimately sat down, Sam. I'm gonna share a list that was shared by a certain Jordan Decker on Twitter. But
Oh yeah,
as a fan, do yourself a favor, sit down and realistically go through the top two centers of every single team in the NHL. There are not a lot of second line centers that fit the build for the Montreal Canadiens, and if there are, at what cost? Like it's gonna be astronomical. So going back to the list that Jordan Decker on Twitter posted, he had mentioned Horvat, as we said, awful contract that would have to be salary retained and significant amounts, like 2 million plus. Matthew Barzal, I think he's one of the best fits all
oh
around.
yeah,
That's just
yeah,
my opinion at the moment. Sam Bennett, for some odd reason, I just don't feel I dream of the day that Sam Bennett comes to the Montreal Canadiens,
yeah.
but I just don't see the fit. Jordan Kyrou, not going to have him. Pavel Zacha, Matt Duchene getting up there in age.
No.
Quinton Byfield, there's no way that LA is
Oh my
trading
God, no,
Byfield
not
away.
not a second
Uh,
overall pick like that. Not easily. No, no way. No freaking
and
way.
the last center on this list is Dylan Larkin. But I mean, Dylan Larkin, yeah, it's a pipe dream that Steve Eiserman is suddenly hurt by the comments that Larkin made that they didn't go out and make a trade at the deadline. Like
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
really, folks, it's unrealistic. Even if Matthew Barzal is Lou Lamoriello just was it was just announced that he'll no longer be part of the organization as of this
Yeah.
upcoming year. God knows there are a million and one reasons to think maybe there's some room and some flexibility to start making trades. I think the New York Islanders are a logical pick for as a good trade partner. But what do we have to give up? Like it's going to be very significant. And number two, there are not a whole ton of number two centers that are readily available in this league. And I think it's going to be such a tough puzzle for Gorton Hughes to figure out because you probably foresee a guy like, as you said, Sam, Michael Hage coming in and eventually occupying that second line center position. But if the
Yeah.
Canadians are ready to start competing, in the sense of competing, being in the playoffs on a routine basis after next year, you have to make a move. So we're stepping into one hell of an exciting time in terms of what has to be done and what can be done. And on the flip side, free agency, I always say, like, I don't want to go Marc Bergevin mode and do nothing. I think there are two names on my end that I really, really, really would like to take a flyer out on. And I think this offseason, it's not about throwing the moon and the stars at a free agent to come and play on the second line. I think it's about bolstering and replacing the third line pieces such as Armia and possibly Dvorak. Everybody's chasing Dvorak out of town, but you still have to replace him. That is a big ask for an Owen Beck to come in and replace and do exactly what Dvorak was doing as of this year, especially what we saw from Dvorak in the playoffs. Even if Owen Beck has a better regular season, mark my words, it's not going to be as easy for Owen Beck as it was for Christian Dvorak to play in the playoffs. So, anyways, all this to
Well,
say, two names.
we need to replace over 55% of the faceoff dot on average.
Bingo. So look, I think we've discussed this. We got the chance to see the Montreal Canadiens be a little bit I don't want to say bullied, but they had a little bit of a tougher time on the physical side. There are two names that come up that I think the Montreal Canadiens have an obligation, and it's, folks, it's left field. It's absolutely left field, but I'd love to see whether or not Radek Faksa, 31 years of age, he was making about 3.5 million. I think it was $3.25 million this past year. Centerman, again, 6'3", 31 years of age. I think he could slot in well as a defensive shutdown guy without putting that burden or that responsibility on a young kid. And you want to talk about team toughness? I think just a guy coming out of LA, Tanner Janot.
Yeah.
I think he would be a hell of an addition to bolster. I think he would be a fantastic replacement for a guy like Michael Pezzetta up top. As much as it's going to hurt to see a guy like Pezzetta not necessarily be a part of this team, he would be such a welcome addition. Those are my
Well,
wishes. That's my wish list.
Julien Brisebois practically gave up the farm and more to acquire him back. I think it was last season or something. So like I don't know how many picks he gave up to try to get him. So like there's definitely something they see in him for sure. Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. For me, the names I have in mind, again, pipe dream. It's never gonna happen. I don't know why. I feel like Matty Beniers can get a second chance elsewhere outside of Seattle. If not, for me, I want Mason McTavish, and I think the Ducks are going to have to decide what to do with either him or Trevor Zegras at the second line center position, because Leo Carlson is clearly their number one centerman for the future. I mean, Dylan, is it Dylan? No, Ryan Strome. Dylan Strome is on Washington. Ryan Strome is on the Ducks. Like him too. He's becoming older. Like I don't know if he's going to be that. I don't know if he's going to be a top six centerman. Maybe he. I don't know. And even on Seattle's, like Chandler Stevenson, he's got a long contract and he's in his 30s too now. So they're gonna have to decide what to do with Shane Wright and Matty Beniers. Are they going to try to keep them both? One would think both of them are your top six forwards at the center position. But I don't know. He's one of Cole Caulfield's best friends. Maybe somebody he could. I don't know if he's his best friend, but they're definitely close friends. They've won together in the World Juniors. They've known each other from college days. Maybe somebody that needs just a fresh start because it just hasn't been working out the last two seasons in Seattle. Like Seattle right now, they're going through. They have no culture. They have no identity right now. So unless that gets changed, I mean, who knows? And his contract, I looked at what is it? The Beniers contract for 22 at 7 point. He's got the same 7 years on his contract at 7.142 million. Like he's just under. He's paying the same amount as Cole and Suzuki, more or less, and Slav too. So,
He
but I
fits
mean, we'll
in
see.
with that young age. I would
Oh, I
love
think so.
Beniers, but I think again you're giving up a ton to get a guy like
Yeah,
that. Also an assistant captain for the Seattle Kraken. Like it
like I said,
comes at a
it's
very
a
high
pipe
cost,
dream.
but
Yeah.
that's a great fit. Like arguably even better than that of Barzell. Say what you want to say, but because he doesn't have that crazy contract or anything of the sort, at the 9+ million, I think he would be a hell of a fit for the
Yeah.
Montreal Canadiens. Anyways,
Awesome.
again,
Yeah.
fans, don't take this
It's
out of context. This is Sammy and I spitballing, and this is our personal wish list. These are guys who we think would fit very nicely on the team without being over the top.
let's cause some controversy. Let's get the people rattled a little bit. You rattle this cage. Quick, name that movie.
Batman Begins.
So good. Okay, let's get into the final topic of Marty St. Louis. Marty St. Louis, Jack Adams Award finalist. I joked about it at one time. I think somebody amongst the podcast joked like, "Hey, imagine if he gets nominated for Coach of the Year." Lo and behold, he is nominated for Coach of the Year. And when you think about it, how could you not? When you take he had a second last place team on December 1st, and they make the postseason.
Yeah.
And they win at least one game against Washington Capitals, the youngest team in the playoffs, one of the youngest teams to ever play in the playoffs on average.
The youngest team to ever qualify for playoffs, like that's an achievement. There you go, Marty. You got the youngest team ever to qualify for playoffs. That's under your belt. And again, you wanna kind of match up the timeline of them going from 31st to being in a playoff spot. Well, Patrick Laine came back. So as we discussed, the importance of Patrick Laine for this roster, and on top of all of that too, it's just everybody. There were no significant injuries. We actually had a clean bill of health for the second half of the season. So minus
Bringing
Caden Gooley, of course.
bringing another veteran defenseman in Alexandre Carrier too
Carrier.
for Justin Barron. I think I loved how at the beginning of the year, like it wasn't going well at all for anybody on the team. And I loved how Marty basically told not members of media, but basically told everybody out there, he's like, keep doubting me. He's like, I always overcome obstacles from the people that doubt me. It fuels me. He goes, so I appreciate the market. It's like he basically fucking Neo'd the shit out of everybody. He's like, come on. And he did. Like, listen, I'm not crazy about the man-on-man coverage, but he changed it. And hey, man, it worked for this team at least this season. Like
So,
he deserves this. He deserves this. And like he wants to continue being the coach of this team so badly. Like at the end of the game, he said it's a privilege for me to be a Montreal Canadiens, and he's like, I take this job extremely seriously, but it's a privilege. You know what I mean? Like he keeps proving people wrong over and over and over again.
So do you remember the night that we went to the Habs cave over at Sunil's place,
Yeah.
raising for the Liam Foundation, evidently? I
How
hope
can
I'm
I?
not overstepping any line here, but I'm going to quote the guy directly. It was a certain André Roy who we were speaking with, and
Yep.
I asked him the question because it was something that we had brought up on the episodes, and I said, like, do you think that there would be any benefit in bringing maybe a more veteran or seasoned coach into the mix, and
Mm-hmm.
for Marty, and having won the Stanley Cup again? Andre Roy won the Stanley Cup with Marty in 2004. All that to say is he actually had the chance to talk to Marty. And again, if this was a private discussion, apologies, but I don't think it reflects poorly on any one of those two men, in that Marty basically said, no, I have confidence in what I'm doing. Exactly to your point, Sam. I
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
confidence in what I'm doing. I'm certain that this is going to work. Just need a little bit like more time, and lo and behold, what a turnaround! And so,
Yeah.
amazing anecdote from André Roy, directly from Marty St. Louis, and I stand by those words. Uh, what an incredible feat for such a young coach. Again, went from coaching like Pee Wee
Unreal.
to
Not too
freaking
shabby, eh?
NHL.
Not too shabby for a Pee Wee coach, eh? For just his third season in the NHL. Hey, talk about I don't know. It's getting late, but I really think it's the proof is in the pudding. Just listen to what the players say about him. Like, I don't think they're faking this. I refuse to think that Arbor Jacka is saying we look up to Marty. He's like our idol. He's our leader. I refuse to believe Arbor Jacka is saying that just to make fans and members of the media happy. Josh Anderson says it starts with Marty and his leadership qualities and how he's just able to, his speeches and how he's able to bring everyone together and believe together. Brendan Gallagher said the same thing. Suzuki, the captain, said the same thing. Cole Caulfield said the same thing.
Step back and look at the names that you just mentioned.
Well, dude, pretty much that. It's coming from the key guys. You know what I mean? It's coming from those that are going to lead this team to the promised land one day. Even if Gallagher and Anderson are no longer there because just their bodies are done and just time to move on from them. But my point in all this is that, like, it's if for those that still believe Marty's not the coach for this team, that's okay. That's your opinion. You're entitled to it. But like, it's hard to ignore the good he's doing for this team. Like, it's hard to ignore the progression this team is going through, and even him as a coach. So, you know what I mean? He's up there, nominated with Scott. Oh my God, excuse me, can't pronounce his name. Scott Arniel for the Winnipeg Jets head coach. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. And then Spencer Carberry, obviously, for the Washington Capitals. I look, I truly believe it's going to come down between the two coaches of Winnipeg and Capitals. Just my personal opinion, I don't think Marty's going to win it. If he does, I'll be so surprised and beyond happy for him. I'm going to go bananas. But nonetheless, your third year as an NHL coach, and the team you coached before coming to the NHL was a Pee Wee team, and you're already a finalist for the Jack Adams Award, excuse me. Yeah. What more is there to say?
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know what else to say. It's just the beginning. It's just the beginning.
Yeah, no, it's a privilege to be the coach of the Montreal Canadiens, but as he said, but also just a privilege to be mentioned. All things considered, fans, I don't think he's going to be winning it this year. I think that goes to Spencer Carberry. Seriously,
yeah,
that team was supposed to be kind of like a fringe playoff team, maybe a wild card, maybe even one of the top three in their bottom two, in their respective division. But all that to say is, man, like, he squeezed over 40 goals out of Ovechkin, and it wasn't only about Ovechkin like that. Oh, the whole team played above and beyond. I have to say too, like, it pisses me off that we just lost to the Capitals. But if there's one man that I actually I genuinely fell in love with in that organization, it was Spencer Carberry. Like, holy crap.
Yep.
Classy guy, just the way he speaks. Like, I can imagine too him being a great motivator for his players.
Yep.
Just a great voice of reason within that room. I think it's going to go to him.
Can't say anything else. It's no better way of ending this episode.
He started with the first 3 minutes talking about the Montreal Canadiens. We ended our last 3 minutes talking about him. There you go. That's
there you go.
What goes around comes around, Spencer.
It's a good trade-off. All right. We're going to call it a night, folks. Thank you so much once again for tuning in to this episode of the Curfew Boys. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. It is absolutely free. Like I said, the Montreal Canadiens season may be over, but ours is still going. There's still the Laval Rocket to root for. All episodes available, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Follow the Curfew Boys on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. And once again, a big thank you to our sponsors, Haps Cave, Les Délices Lafrenière, and Mike's Barbecue Rub. Give them all a follow on Instagram. Hey, Chris, thanks so much for doing this. Don't forget, folks, Monday, press conference, Kent Hughes, and most likely Jeff Gordon as well. That's something we're not going to want to miss, and that's something we are going to dive into once that happens. Chris, have a good night. We're definitely going to chat more. Until next time. Bye now. Good night.